These are shark-infested waters. Danger lurks all around. There are sharks circling you right now. Is this the Pacific? The South China Sea? No. This is the business insurance industry. Don't take chances with your business insurance. Call High House Insurance, your local business insurance experts. We don't pay to be on comparison websites, so your premiums are better value. For a free no-obligation quote, call Selsey 606 552. High House, local, reliable insurance. High Street, Selsey.
Hi, and welcome once again to Selsey Internet Radio. My first guest in the studio today is Lyn Reeve. Now, Lyn's going to be telling us what she's found when she's been out and about around the village, about what's going on for the coming week. Lyn, good morning.
Hello, Keith. Yeah, there's quite a bit going on this week, looks like, in Selsey. And we're starting with Tuesday the 12th of May, when we've got the Selsey Visually Impaired Club meeting at Hanover Close Lounge from 2 to 4 p.m. The transport for that is, of course, door-to-door for outings and meetings with the Selsey Venture Bus, telephone 605 115, and you can get further details for that from Mrs. Judy Smith on 606 995 or Mrs. Jill Erickson on 602 628. So that's for the Selsey Visually Impaired Club. On Wednesday the 13th of May, the next meeting of Selsey WI takes place in the Town Hall at 2:15 p.m. At this meeting, they'll be discussing the resolution to be put to the annual meeting being held in the Royal Albert Hall in June, and there will also be a silent auction. Further details can be obtained from either Pauline Bridger on 07760 126613 or Stella Christ on 603 221. On Thursday the 14th of May, the Selsey History Meeting will take place in St Peter's Church Hall, commencing at 7:30 p.m. The speaker will be Brian Luxford, who will be talking about Chichester Cathedral and the city. All friends and visitors are welcome for a modest £1.50, which of course includes refreshments. That's not bad, is it?
No,
Very reasonable. And further information can be had from the Secretary, John Mason, on 607 037.
Be cheaper to go in there and get a cup of tea than it would to go up the high street.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that in front of the cafes, but yeah.
No,
you
nor
know.
would I.
Yeah, it would be. On Thursday the 14th of May, a whist drive commences at 7:30 p.m. in the Selsey Club in Cox's Road, for all of you card lovers there. On the 15th in the afternoon, the Derby and Joan Club will meet at 2 to 4 p.m. at St Peter's Church Hall, and a good time is had by all with a fun bingo session and a most welcome cup of tea. The Venture Bus is available for members, so you can go in there and get a free cuppa.
Whoa.
Wow.
I haven't told the cafe owners that then.
No, I wouldn't have done that either.
And you want some free ham, egg and chips now? We've cracked it.
Well away, or a nice breakfast, eh?
Mm.
Saturday, bacon and egg and fried bread. Fried bread these days, fried bread. Saturday the 16th of May, a tabletop sale is being held at the Selsey Methodist Church from 10 to 1, and refreshments will be available there too. It's all about tea and coffee.
You don't need to...
No.
You could live free of charge, couldn't you? Eat free of charge.
That's nearly every day. The Brent Lodge Spring Fling, based in Cow Lane, Siddlesham, takes place on both Saturday the 16th and Sunday the 17th of May, and entry is by a tin of cat or dog food. There will be various stalls. That's for the refreshment, is it? there will be
tin of cat or dog food and sandwiches are available.
Yeah. What's for dinner? There will be various stalls with plants, books, bric-a-brac, arts and crafts, raffle, tombola, hot and cold refreshments, and all funds raised go towards the vital treatment of care and rehabilitation of our British wildlife. That's quite a good cause.
It is very good, yes.
On Monday the 18th of May, the Selsey Camera Club will be meeting in St Wilfrid's Church Hall at 7:30 p.m. Viewing images of Bosom will be the topic for the evening. Visitors are very welcome, and for more information, email selseycameraclub.co.uk. Monday the 18th of May brings us the Selsey Cinema Club, who will be showing The Theory of Everything, starring Eddie Redmayne, who won Best Actor of the Year for his portrayal of Professor Stephen Hawkins. That was amazing, wasn't it? That acting in that was absolutely amazing.
Incredible. Yeah.
The doors are open at 7 o'clock, commencing at 7:30 p.m. The ticket price is £5, and the box office number is 605803. It's a triumphant film, it says. I've not heard much about it, so yeah, maybe that could be reviewed at some point. But yeah, The Theory of Everything.
I think it's been reviewed to death by the press.
Has it?
But,
Yeah, I must be behind the times there. On Monday the 18th again, Artstream Selsey are holding an exhibition of the work of fantasy artist Sharon Hurst in the Selsey Town Hall at 7 to 9:30pm, and the entrance fee there is £4 with free refreshments, and a raffle will be held, and sales of most arts and crafts will be available, so that sounds good too. And that's it for this week, so quite a bit on.
There is indeed, yes. Quite a diverse selection there.
Yeah, they are.
Well, thanks very much for that. I'll let you pop off and get a free cup of tea somewhere.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye now then. Bye.
I have with me now Pat Reed, our Selsey Shopper, and Pat's going to be telling us what's available up and down the High Street and various other shops in and around the village. Pat.
Thanks, Keith. Well, with summer and warmer weather just around the corner, hopefully those of you who are able-bodied and thinking of getting rid of a few pounds which have been put on over the winter, you'll turn your thoughts to outdoor activities. So I called into Summit Bikes, who are situated at 24 Hillfield Road, and spoke to Steve Mitchell, who runs the business. And wow, what a selection of bikes he has in there, along with all the high-tech equipment and clothing an avid cyclist could possibly want. There's obviously more to cycling than my trip to the shops or short bike rides around Selsey. He caters for all, and anyone wanting to buy a new bike will find Steve has something to suit everyone in his shop. Bikes for mountain and road, electric bikes, leisure and children's bikes, also clothing and an extensive list of parts and accessories. Not only does he sell bikes, but he hires them out, repairs them and also organises bike rides. He runs regular rides across the South Downs, catering for all levels of fitness and experience, and for the more adventurous, he organises weekend rides. For example, the South Downs Way, which is ridden over 2 days with a hotel stop overnight. Sounds like really good fun. He can even hire you a tow-along trailer for your child.
You'd need one of those to fetch me back in if I'd been riding over to the South Downs. That's for sure.
Yeah, it does sound... I think you've got to be fairly able-bodied for all that. He can even hire you a tow-along trailer for your child or pet, and offers full servicing facilities from a puncture repair to a full strip down and rebuild. With some specialist bikes costing up to £1,500 and more these days.
That's a way to get rid of a few pounds, isn't it? Buy a bike for £1,500. Good
but
grief.
Steve can arrange finance for you with 0% interest. He also offers a cycle to work scheme, which I found quite interesting, where your employer buys the bike and rents it to you for a year, and then the bike is yours. The scheme is called salary sacrifice, where the money is taken from your gross pay, and therefore you don't pay tax on your year's rental payments. Sounds quite good, that.
I think our company was
it's a lot, because £1,500's a lot to find if you wanted the really specialist bike, but he does do cheaper ones, obviously. Steve, he's also done charity bike rides in the past for leukemia, and having been a sufferer himself, he's planning a bike ride from Norfolk to Paris in September, when there'll be 6 people taking part. So if you wish to sponsor him, call into Steve's shop or find out more and have a look at Steve's website, which is summitbikes.co.uk, or contact him on Selsey 687 547. As well as being lucky enough to have a specialist bike shop on our doorstep, which people apparently travel to from far and wide, we also have in Selsey a specialist diving company called Mulberry Divers, who have their shop at 9 Orchard Parade, East Beach. This is a family concern run by Linda, Steve and Anya Frampton. Again, walking into their shop is a diver's paradise, which offers a full range of high-quality diving equipment and dive-related clothing. They also stock snorkelling and water-based activity clothing. So if you fancy doing that, Keith.
Well, it's just round the corner from me, but I've
you
never
wanna
been
go-
tempted to go there. I would love to do diving. And when we were on holiday a couple of years ago, they came around to the hotel and they put you in the pool with a diving kit
Yeah.
on, and then see if you're up for it. And I did that, and I was really looking forward to it. And then the following day, when they came round to take you to the dive, you've got to fill in a medical questionnaire. And because I'm diabetic and I was on different drugs, I couldn't do it.
Oh, right.
And I was absolutely gutted. And one of the guys that did go was only too pleased to tell me how fantastic it was. Which didn't make me feel any better. But to sort of console myself, I went up to the local shop and bought some flippers and a snorkel and swam around the pool with it. But it ain't quite the same. The things you see floating about in the pool are not the sort of things you see in the sea. But
Well, I know nothing about diving, but when I went into this shop, I was amazed that this is hidden away, on the parade in Selsey. But I was very interested to learn from Linda that there are more wrecks around the Sussex coastline than the rest of Britain's coastline, mainly due to the activities of German U-boats in both world wars, and the fact that the channel is narrow and one of the busiest shipping lanes, so this makes it a favourite area for divers. And Linda tells me they run regular boat trips from East Beach, which provide the opportunity to dive at a number of local dive sites, and also weekend dive trips, not only within the UK, but holidays within the UK and overseas. They provide training at all levels and can support all your equipment servicing needs. There's so much more to Mulberry Divers, and you'll find all the information and upcoming dive schedule on their website, mulberrydivers.co.uk, or telephone them on Selsey 601000. Whilst I was at the East Beach shops, I called into 5 a Day and Flowers and spoke to Nick, who runs this fruit, flower and vegetable shop, because I wanted to see how Delightful Things R Us are doing after moving from the high street just after Christmas and taking over half of his shop. Delightful Things R Us is run by Teresa, who is Nick's mother, and it seemed a good move to have both businesses under one roof. It seems to have worked out well, with the fruit and vegetable side still having a roomy area to display their stock, and also room for an extensive stock of pet food and supplies. Teresa has some beautiful gift items on display in the other half of the shop, and she's now taken over the flower side of the business, supplying flowers for all occasions. With summer on its way and holiday traffic making for East Beach Car Park, we wish Teresa all the best in her new premises. Staying with the outdoors theme, I called into Raycrafts in the High Street.
I have to just butt in there, Pat, and say I think you showed remarkable restraint, because you've gone from Mulberry Divers, past the bakers, past the chip shop, and past the Indian restaurant to get to...
Well, I must admit that actually at the time outside the bakers there was a queue which went way past Mulberry Divers. So obviously that
There's always a queue.
really draws in
It's a very, very
custom.
popular bakers. My son is actually a baker, and if he comes down or if we're going up to visit, does favour, Dad, pop in the bakers and pick up a big cream sponge. And he reckons he's never tasted anything like it.
Well, I
And
was
he's a baker
amazed
himself,
at this queue, because I thought, well, obviously this does draw the custom in.
But it's
so,
like that every
yeah.
day. It really is.
Yeah.
And quite deservedly. It's some great food and rolls and sausage rolls, and I'm giving away the things that I eat when my wife's not there.
Because I think East Beach Parade can be, it's not, people don't go there especially from the high street, but I think it's, if you're over a certain age, you can get the bus
The chip
free,
shop
and
gets
it's
very busy as
worth
well.
having a look round
The
there.
chip shop gets extremely busy. I don't know about now because it changed owners 2 or 3 years back, but people used to come off of Bun Leisure to go down to the chip shop.
Really? Yes.
And I've no reason to believe that they don't still do that, because it's very popular.
Yeah.
So,
well, perhaps
you're
anyone
right,
listening to this, go and give it a try. It's
absolutely.
not all in the high street, but anyway, I thought I'd stay with the outdoor theme and called into Raycrafts in the high street, which most people will associate with stationery, cards and everything for the office. But at the back of this shop is an angler's paradise with everything you need for sea and freshwater fishing. There is only one other shop in the Chichester area which supplies anglers, and that's at Donington. So again, we're lucky to have this on our doorstep. They supply live ragworm, I'm told, and a large selection of frozen bait. And there's a huge range of rods, and they do a rod and reel deal, which you can purchase as a package for a very good price. And they now do chest waders and high-quality beach shelters, which cost around £65. There is so much more to Raycrafts, like their range of watches and battery replacement service, which is much cheaper than Chichester at £3.75, and your watch will be ready the following morning. They do a full photocopying service, including colour copies up to A3 in size, laminating, and also a fax service, which I'm told is still used a lot as legal documents, for instance, will not be accepted if photocopied, but will be accepted if faxed. They also do a next day delivery service throughout the UK, up to 25 kilos for £12.50. There's so much more going on in this shop, so worth a look around when you're passing. So, that's 3 diving, fishing and bike specialists that we have on our doorstep,
Yes.
which all 3 shops are, really well stocked. So we're very lucky for anyone who has those sort of
indeed.
activities.
I think sometimes we don't quite appreciate the shops for what they are. I'll be honest, I've got 3 watches sitting in the drawer at home waiting for batteries.
Oh, right. Well,
Waiting to go into Chichester to get
well, they're
batteries
all
out.
£5 and more. Yeah.
I didn't know that they did them, so...
I usually take mine in there, and they're always back the following morning, so... But that's the lot for this month. So all of you Selsey shoppers, I wish you happy shopping.
Well, thank you for that, Pat, and we look forward to seeing you probably before next month with a story or 2, because I believe you're going to be doing a few stories for us.
Yeah, I think most of them will have been written by the Selsey writers in the writing circle, so I'll see what I can come up with, which will be, I'm sure, of interest to listeners. Hopefully ghost stories and maybe the odd children's story.
Yes. Well, I look forward to seeing you next time, Pat. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
And we have Giles in the studio again, back with some more gardening hints. So over to you, Giles.
Hi, good afternoon. Nice to be able to pop in and see you again and have a little chat about what's going on outside.
Always like to see you, Giles.
It's always good to see. Right, our mutual appreciation society.
We have, yes.
I'll launch into the...
Yeah, the viewers can't see what's
I'll
happening
launch
here.
into the countryside.
Right. Yeah.
Countryside in general now, everything, rapid growth, rapid flowering, everything going at a heck of a pace everywhere. The oats and the other crops are looking, cereal crops are looking green and really nice in the fields around about now, and we're also getting the yellow stroke gold of the rapeseed.
Yes, I've noticed that.
Which is quite noticeable in some areas, very more than others, yeah. Not good for people with hay fever at all. And then we've got in the roses now, we've got wild honeysuckle and wild roses coming out, and in both cases a lovely scent with them, which is really nice. It's really nice, it really is. The cascades of what I call golden flowers coming from the laburnums is really nice to look at now. And also the purple lilac is in getting going, which again is a good scent. And now coming nearer home into the garden, into the actual garden, I'm going on with that theme a little bit. It's a good time to tie in any climates, and that includes honeysuckle, clematis, wisteria. Good to make sure they're all tied in now to the supports on the walls, fences or pergolas, and also on climbing roses, any upright stems, bend them down to the support to horizontal level. They will do that, by the way. They won't break.
Good.
If one's careful in doing it, of course. And then they in turn will carry more shoots and flowers, which is good. Broad beans are moving along quite rapidly now, and they're very prone to black fly, which can invade at any time and usually does, and it can be a right nuisance. It covers the beans, covers everything. The best way to deal with it is when the beans have got to a reasonable height with a fair few pods on it, nip off the growing tops. That will help a lot. Nip them off. And then if there's any black fly around, you can spray it with an organic soap spray, which will get rid of it.
Do they attack in volume then?
They do, but the spray will deal with it.
Right.
And the cutting the heads off will detract them, because they're attracted initially by the soft buds. That's what brings them in the first place. So that's the main answer to that. And then houseplants, it's a good time, if on a nice day, to give them a spring shower. In other words, put them in the bath and then apply a very tepid shower to them.
Right.
Obviously not strong, not hard.
No.
And then put them outside where they're not going to be burnt by the sun, in a warm place for a few hours, but not in direct, where they get scorched. And the other thing about that is that works on smooth-leaved and most houseplants, but don't do it on hairy leaf plants like African violets, because they will rot and die.
Oh.
So only use it on smooth-leaved or shiny-leaved plants. And then the other thing now I'd like to, on the tip-top tips again this week, coming back to that, anyone who's been growing leeks, growing their own, now's the time to transplant the seedlings into their permanent quarters. Greenhouses, this is a time on nice days to open the vents to get rid of any scorching high heat or humidity, but also be very careful not to open the vents into the wind. One has to be very careful about that. See where the wind's going before you open, and make sure, even at this time of year, they shut it down at night, because it still gets quite cold at the night, and they won't like the change in temperature much.
No.
It's also a good idea to plant some rows of runner beans and sweet peas, but a good thing with them is plant alternate rows, a row of sweet peas, a row of beans, runner beans, a row of sweet peas, alternate them, and then you'll get a lovely scent from the sweet peas, which in turn will provide nectar for the bees, which in turn will fertilise the beans.
Yes.
So it's a good idea to mix the two together, actually. And the other thing is, later this month, we've got Selsey Flower Show, which is really good to see. It's very, very... there's so much to see. It's mind-boggling, all the things you can see.
You're going over there?
I do usually go, yeah. And also the other thing is, it's one can obviously learn quite a lot. There are lots of things that you can learn about. So I'm hoping anyone who can get there will. I'll say cheerio and see you next week.
Thank you, Giles.
Hi, and welcome once again to Keithy's Kitchen. Now, today, by way of a change, and that's purely and simply because I'm not a great fish lover, and that's a bit of a waste when you live as close to the sea as I do, but there you go. Today's recipe is for poacher's fish cakes. Now, fish cakes have been popular since Victorian times. I guess they were using up whatever was left of the bits and bobs, and pretty much the rules apply today. This recipe will serve 4. So if there's only 2 of you, I hope you've got healthy appetites. And this is what we need. 225 grams or 8 ounces of potatoes cooked, 50 grams or 2 ounces of butter, 350 grams or 12 ounces of salmon cooked and flaked. I mean, you could use other fish if you wanted to. 15 ml, that's 1 tablespoonful of finely chopped fresh thyme, a squeeze of lemon juice and salt and freshly ground pepper, some cayenne pepper, 1 to 2 eggs beaten, 450 ml, that's 3 tablespoonfuls of seasoned plain flour, 50 grams or 2 ounces of dried breadcrumbs, some vegetable oil for frying, some sprigs of watercress and lemon slices to garnish, make it look all lovely and presentable. And this is what we do. Puree the potatoes or mash them well and put them into a saucepan, preferably non-stick, that it might be in trouble, and heat gently, stirring them while they're heating, to dry them out completely. Now beat in the butter with a wooden spoon. Remove the pan from the heat and beat in the thyme, the salmon, the lemon juice and the seasonings and just enough egg to bind it together. And leave it to cool then, cover and chill. So put a cover over it once it's cooled and let it chill down. Put it in the fridge or whatever you like. Divide into 4 or 8 portions, so you can have big ones or small ones depending on what you fancy. And make sure you get some flour in your hands, otherwise it all sticks to your hands. Shape each portion into a flat cake, coat in seasoned flour, then the remaining egg, then the breadcrumbs. So the egg makes the breadcrumbs stick to it. Heat the oil in a frying pan, add the fish cakes and fry. Turn them once until crisp and golden. Drain them off on some absorbent paper or kitchen towel, whatever you use normally, and serve garnished with the watercress and lemon slices. Simple, easy and very, very tasty. And that's it for this week.
And we go across now to Dennis Cowan for Dennis's Video Watch.
And welcome again to Dennis Cowan's Video Watch, when we shall be looking at videos, DVDs, old and new. We begin with Open Grave, a horror yarn that has many good reviews on Amazon and is on sale in HMV and Tesco. It's well made but cliched, in that it promises more than the usual horror flick, when in fact the theme behind it has been done several times over the past few years. Having said that, it is worth a watch, and it stars Sholto Copley of District 9. Then we have 388 Arletta Avenue, a 211 film starring Nick Stahl, who was the boy in Terminator 3. He later went on to do Scopers, and then the film Disturbing Behaviour, which more or less introduced him, which was actually a very good film. At first I thought this was a dud, opening as it did with a handheld camera, but keeping with it, I soon got to like it, as the several angle fixed camera idea paid off quite well. The plot was tight and atmospheric, as a stalker watcher invaded the couple's home so that they could see everything. This got even more menacing when you realised how far this mystery watcher would go. So see this one. Next up is You're Next, a 213 film, mainly a house of terror thing and a slasher movie, fairly well executed, but it has been done before, where a gang pick out a house, and these lot are wearing masks, nothing unusual there, are intent on brutalising and taking down the residents. So if you like that kind of thing, that's great for you. We go on to an unknown film called The Kiss of a Killer, It's a 2013 thing with a relatively unknown cast. It stays based on a true story of a serial killer who killed 23 girls at the beginning of the First World War. The story is that a gang with their loot pitch up at a remote hotel known to give sanctuary to waifs and strays. But what awaits them is someone thought to be dead decades earlier, a century later in fact. So that's very good. It'll keep you going and it'll keep you guessing as to whether he's supernatural or not. We then go on to Monster Man. This is a film that was made in 2003, a sort of 80s style horror flick. Absolutely well done, with occasional bouts of humour to relieve the violence by something that should have died way back, a kind of hillbilly horror meets two incapable teenagers who happen to cross the path of a psychotic thing in a huge truck with massive wheels. It's definitely a must for horror fans who like a creature makeup sort of thing, and it doesn't die easily, or it won't die easily, more or less. We then go on to The Cottage, which was made in 2008, starring Andy Serkis of King Kong and the Lord of the Rings films. This is an excellent little bit of horror with some great comedy thrown in the mix. Story-wise, Serkis and Reese Shearsmith of the League of Gentlemen, who's doing quite a lot these days, kidnap a gang lord's daughter in order to get a big fat ransom and proceed to hide out in a cottage not far from a maniac farmer who hates trespassers. Gangland revenge is nothing compared to what they have to deal with. This farmer is a nutter. Excellent done and worth seeing. We then go on to my pick of the week, really, and this is Gravity, which some of you have maybe already seen. But if it's out there and you haven't seen it, go to the rental racks and grab it or buy it, whatever way you can get it. It is a good sci-fi film. It's a recent film in a way, even though it is 2013, and my favourite of the week, as I've said, stars just Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. More Bullock, really. And one can see how well they keep this on track. I thought I might get bored with this space yarn, as there was just two actors, but I didn't, and I loved it. The effects were superb, and I was amazed to find it finish just when I was ready to embrace it changing to something else. The atmosphere was excellent and nervy, so do rent or buy this one if you can happen to find it still in the racks. We now go on to the top 20 as from the 4th of May, supplied by Keith at Reflex DVD in Selsey High Street. Hiya, Keith. At number 1, and doing very well and still hanging in there, is Exodus, Gods and Kings. This is a very big kind of special effects movie, but those who are watching it already will know that. Haven't seen it myself, but it's on my list. At number 2, there is Birdman, which I really don't know much about. At number 3, we have Night at the Museum 3, so this is just could be said, a continuation of 1 or 2, depending if they got them right. I did watch number 2, that was okay, so I don't know about number 3, but it's still there at 3. At number 4, we have Dumb and Dumber 2, as I once said before, spelt T-O. This wasn't my kind of film, but perhaps comic lovers will like this one. At number 5, we've got The Pyramid, a sort of mummy shocker. Yet to see this one, so I don't really know much to comment on this one. At 6, we've got Foxcatcher, and that is, I've got to say, it's a mystery to me at the moment. It might be a kids' film, that one. At number 7, we have Badland. Again, I don't know much about this, but perhaps by next week I shall have. At 8, we've got Automata. I do know something else. This stars Anthony Banderas, who is an investigator of defective robots in this sci-fi tale of the future. His investigations lead him to the dark secrets that are beyond and the make and model of the machine. So this is a sci-fi job. We then go on to 9, The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies. Well, this is big stuff, again by Peter Jackson. It's probably superb. There are some who say it's not exactly with the books, but there you are. You will always get differing opinions on it. At number 10, we've got The Signal, which I thought was something else. But apparently this is also a sci-fi starring Lawrence Fishburne. This is about 3 computer geeks that are kidnapped and taken to a facility, and we know what that means, a facility, maybe the Men in Black or something like that. This is classified as a thriller. At number 11, we have Paddington, presumably Paddington Bear. This is obviously a kids' film, and obviously at number 11, it's doing quite fine. Number 12, we have The Theory of Everything, which is actually doing very well, according to people who've said to me they've seen it. This is the film starring Eddie Redmayne playing Stephen Hawking. Much has already been said, and the reviews have supported its publicity, so I shan't say any more to that. I haven't seen it myself, and I'll wait for that. At 13, we've got Unbroken, which, again, I can't really tell you much about that. At 14, we've got Zulu, which is not quite what I thought. This is about a thing in South Africa. 2 detectives go out on a case. And then we move to 15, which is Annie. Again with Annie, don't know much about that. And then we have 16, No Good Deed. Now, No Good Deed stars that BBC detective and climbing star Idris Elba, who's hardly off the screen these days. However, in this, he plays an escaped convict who is charming but dangerous. And then at number 17, we have Horrible Bosses 2, obviously a comedy. Not seen that. At number 18, which has been dropping, we have Predestination, which stars Ethan Hawke in a time travel flick. He pursues those criminals before they commit the crime. I think we've seen some bits of that. At number 19, we have Supremacy. And then at 20, we have The Penguins of Madagascar. So that is the top 20 for now. Next week we'll see where these are. So that's the top 20, and thanks to Reflex DVD again for that. We now move on to those films to kind of beware of. And first on the list is a thing which I thought was good. I thought it actually said Outpost 2, but it's actually called Outpost 11. This is it says that it's a brilliant claustrophobic UK horror. And this is very claustrophobic from one end to the other. There's some sort of presence out in the kind of Arctic type circle. It says an army unit stationed on a remote Arctic outpost have their lives unexpectedly plunged into chaos as they become prey to an unknown alien enemy. They battle sub-zero temperatures, isolation and madness. Well, those watching this might not actually know where it's going. The acting is good, but it's very strange, and the outcome may not be satisfactory. I found that I wouldn't watch that one again. It's a pity. It obviously had a good idea, but it didn't stick to it. And then we now move on to a film called Deranged, and this stars Craig Fairbrass. This is a kind of horror flick. It says 4 young, attractive girls go on a bachelorette party weekend in a remote country house in Spain owned by their friend Craig Fairbrass. This is kind of weird. It's kind of a slasher movie. Guests are brutally murdered. It is the usual fare in these sort of things, so I wouldn't really... The packaging is good, but I wouldn't really sort of recommend it at all. And then we go on to another one which I thought would be good, and this is called Debug, starring Jason Momoa. Evil can't be deleted. Now this tries to cross things with computer science and a spaceship and something remaining in that spaceship. I found the whole thing rather silly, so I don't really see that as great. They're sent into deep space. There's 6 young hackers attempting to debug the computer systems of a massive derelict space freighter. So there you are. They're trying to clean out a virus only to find that there's something left behind. And then finally we have Bonnie and Clyde Justified. And I expected something of the old Bonnie and Clyde, but this was very peculiar, set on a different angle. Well, that's it for another video watch this week, and I shall be back again next week. So keep watching those videos, and I'll keep watching them for you here. Bye-bye.
And that's about it for this week. On behalf of our contributors, that's Lyn Reeve, Pat Reed and Giles Peer, and on behalf of the production team, which is John Fletcher, Dennis Cowan, and of course myself, Keith Barnes, I'd like to say thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye-bye for now.